Under a scorching sun, Maria, a fruit vendor, was arranging her mangoes and bananas on her modest roadside stall. Her hands were worn from years of labor, the skin rough and cracked from the harsh tropical sun. Every morning, before the village fully awakened, Maria would rise at dawn to prepare her stand. She took care to select the ripest, most appealing fruits, hoping to attract customers despite the competition from other vendors set up a little further away. Her stall, though simple, was always impeccable. Maria loved order. The mangoes were neatly stacked into golden pyramids, their smooth, shiny skins gleaming under the bright light. The bananas, a vivid yellow, were arranged in clusters, ready to be taken by passers-by. The bright colors of the fruits created a striking contrast with the arid surroundings, like a promise of freshness in the stifling heat. Maria was a familiar figure in the neighborhood. Everyone who passed by her stall knew her. Her kind smile and soft voice often resonated, offering gentle words to children or joking with the elders who stopped to chat. Despite life's difficulties, Maria kept a generous heart, always ready to offer a fruit to those who couldn't afford to buy one, or to exchange news with her regular customers. She had seen seasons come and go, with both good and bad harvests, yet she remained faithful to her little corner of the sidewalk. Her children had moved to the city, seeking better opportunities, but Maria had never left the village where she had grown up, where she had loved, and where she continued to make a living with her fruits. One day, a young boy with a hungry look approached Maria's stall timidly. His clothes were worn and dirty, his shoes half-holes, and his eyes desperately searched for something to eat. His face was gaunt, his cheeks marked by hunger, and his wide eyes betrayed an innocence mixed with palpable fear. "Are you hungry?" Maria asked softly, her heart tightening at the sight of the boy. The boy hesitated, nodding without a word, his tears threatening to spill from the corners of his eyes. Moved by his silent plea, Maria could not remain indifferent. Without waiting for a response, she leaned over and handed him a ripe mango, its skin shining in golden yellow. "Eat, my son. You need it more than I do." The child, surprised by her kindness, accepted the fruit with trembling hands, as if holding an invaluable treasure. His eyes lit up with a gleam of joy mixed with relief, and he bit into the juicy mango, his face savoring this unexpected sweetness. The juice dripped down his chin, but he didn't care, lost in the simple pleasure of a good meal. Maria smiled at him tenderly, touched by his happiness, and returned to her work, unaware of the impact of this simple gesture. For her, it was a routine, a way to offer a little comfort to those in need. Yet, for the boy, it was much more than just a fruit. It was a moment of grace, a spark of humanity in a world often indifferent to the suffering of the most vulnerable. In that moment, the boy, though tired and hungry, felt seen and loved. He began to smile, not just because of the mango, but because of the warmth of the attention Maria had shown him. He continued to enjoy the fruit with obvious pleasure, each bite seeming to restore a bit of strength and hope. As Maria watched him, she began to reflect on her own life, the sacrifices she had made to provide for herself. She had known poverty, the daily struggle to make ends meet, and this memory reminded her of the importance of helping others. She knew that every small act of kindness could have a ripple effect, touching lives far beyond what one could imagine. In that moment, she promised herself to continue helping those in need, no matter the difficulties she had to face. The gratitude in the boy's eyes was an invaluable reward, and she knew that even though life was hard, there was always room for compassion and love. After finishing the mango, the boy thanked Maria with a radiant smile, his eyes sparkling with sincere gratitude. He stood up and walked away, his belly full and his heart warmed, as a light, cool breeze caressed his face. He turned around one last time to glance at the colorful fruit stall, and Maria waved at him friendly. She watched him walk away, a feeling of satisfaction and hope filling her heart. As he disappeared around the corner, Maria was overcome with emotion. That day, a simple act of generosity might not have changed the world, but it certainly changed the day of that young boy, and for Maria, that was all that mattered. As the hours passed, She resumed her work, carefully arranging the fruits and interacting with her regular customers. But in the back of her mind, she couldn't help but think about the boy. She wondered where he had come from and what he was doing. Perhaps he lived on the streets, or maybe in a home where meals were scarce. Questions swirled in her mind, but she knew she didn't have the power to change the circumstances of his life. What she could do was be there, offering a little comfort when she could. Throughout the day, Maria continued giving fruits to the neighborhood children, making sure each one left with at least a little something. She remembered the boy's smile, his joy with every bite, and it motivated her to do even more. Her generosity was not just an act of altruism, it was a way to plant seeds of hope in a community often forgotten. As evening fell and the sun began to set, casting orange and pink hues across the sky, Maria packed up her stall. She had sold almost everything, and the satisfaction of a well-spent workday warmed her heart. On her way home, she surprised herself by smiling, recalling that special moment with the boy. Days passed, but Maria couldn't stop thinking about that young boy. The image of his smile, so full of gratitude, kept haunting her. Every morning, as she set up her fruits on her stall, she would sneak glances at the crowd, hoping, without fully admitting it to herself, to see him reappear. Maybe one day he would come back, she thought. Perhaps he would bring a friend, a brother, or even his mother, to share with them the sweetness of a fruit offered with love. 10 years passed this way. Maria, despite the toll of the years marking her hands and back, was still at her modest stall. Under the same scorching sun, she carefully arranged her mangoes, bananas, and papayas, always offering the same generous smile to passers-by. One morning, as Maria was just beginning to arrange her fruits, the roar of a luxury car shattered the usual calm of the street. The engine purred softly, imposing, and the tinted windows of the black sedan hinted at an important passenger. Maria stopped, intrigued. A car like that in this modest neighborhood was rare. She squinted, trying to see through the windows. The door opened slowly, and a man in a perfectly tailored suit stepped out with natural elegance. He looked confident, with an imposing presence, but what immediately caught Maria's attention was his smile. That familiar, warm smile she had known years ago. As he approached her, the man reached into the inner pocket of his suit and pulled out a mango. Perfectly ripe, just like the one she had given him years before. "Do you remember me, madam?" he asked softly, a tearful smile tugging at his lips. Maria, perplexed, studied his face more closely. And suddenly, like a flash, memories hit her full force. That gaze, that smile, it was the same as the hungry little boy she had fed 10 years ago. The one she had handed a mango to, expecting nothing in return. "You are that boy," she exclaimed, moved, her heart racing. The man nodded, his eyes bright with emotion. "Yes, it's me. That day, you reached out to me when no one else would. You don't know how much that simple gesture changed my life." Maria stood speechless, unable to find the words. She remembered that day as an ordinary moment, a simple expression of her love for others. She never could have imagined it would have such an impact. "You gave me more than a fruit," the man continued, his voice full of sincerity. "You gave me hope, and it changed the course of my life. Today, I'm a successful businessman, and I'm here to thank you, as I should." Before she could react, he took a detailed plan from an envelope. "I want to build a supermarket here, at this very spot. A supermarket in your honor, Maria. A place where you'll never have to worry about selling fruits under the scorching sun again, where you can be the manager, the owner. You gave me the first chance of my life, and now I want to offer you one." The man's words hung in the air like a soft, unreal melody. Maria, her eyes brimming with tears, couldn't believe what she was hearing. She placed a hand on her heart, trying to contain the emotion that threatened to overwhelm her. "But I don't deserve all this," she murmured, shaken. "I only gave you a mango." The man shook his head gently. "You gave me much more than that. You showed me there's kindness in this world. And it's because of you that I found the strength to keep going. Today, I want to share that kindness with you and with the entire community." Maria, unable to hold back her tears, nodded, finally accepting this priceless gift. She had always believed in the power of small gestures, but that day, she realized just how much a simple act of generosity could change the course of a life. The supermarket he planned to build would not only be a tribute to her, but a symbol of the impact kindness could have on the world. In the weeks that followed the announcement of the supermarket's construction in Maria's honor, the entire neighborhood buzzed with new energy. The place, which had once seen years of routine and small, simple interactions, suddenly transformed into a center of intense activity. The construction site started quickly, and from the first day, trucks full of materials, construction equipment, and a team of engineers, architects, and workers arrived. Maria, still stunned by what was unfolding before her eyes, watched every step with awe. Every morning, she sat on a wooden chair near her former stall to watch the construction. The workers came and went. Engineers with helmets on their heads drew plans, and the foundations of the supermarket began to take shape. The sounds of hammers, saws, and machines now marked her days, but instead of tiring her, this bustle brought a new energy to Maria. One morning, the lead architect, a young and dynamic man named Ricardo, approached her with a smile. "Maria, this supermarket is going to be magnificent, you'll see. We've planned spaces for fresh products, areas for local small producers, and of course, a special spot for your fruits." Maria, her eyes sparkling with gratitude, responded with her usual warm smile. "I never imagined seeing something so grand in this neighborhood. Thank you to you and the entire team." Ricardo nodded, touched by her simplicity. "You deserve all of this, Maria. This supermarket will bear your name, and it will be a symbol of hope for everyone." As the days passed, curious onlookers from the neighborhood began to gather around the construction site. The neighbors, fascinated by the scope of the project, would come by to take a look and chat with the workers. The children, meanwhile, crowded after school to admire the large machines at work, dreaming of one day building something big themselves. During the construction, conversations in the nearby homes all centered around Maria and her incredible story. She, the fruit vendor, had become a figure of respect and admiration for everyone. Her act of generosity toward a hungry boy, given without expectation, had set off a chain of events that would not only change her life, but also transform the neighborhood. Then, one morning, as the walls of the supermarket rose proudly, the businessman who had initiated the project, the one who had once been that hungry little boy, returned to the site. He spent time talking to the workers, making sure everything was in order, and then headed toward Maria. "Everything's going well," he said, handing her a cup of hot coffee. "I wanted to make sure everything is perfect for you." Maria took the cup with a grateful smile. "I can never thank you enough for everything you're doing." The man shook his head. "It's I who should be thanking you, Maria. You gave me a second chance, and today, I want to give back to this community everything you gave me." Weeks turned into months, and the supermarket, a true architectural gem, was finally erected majestically on the land where Maria had spent so many years selling her fruits. Her name, inscribed in golden letters on the facade, was visible from afar. Supermarket Maria. Inside, the shelves were ready to welcome an abundance of fresh, local, and international products, but at the center of it all, a special space was reserved for the fruit stall. Here, Maria would have her place, but this time, in the comfort of a modern, shaded area, illuminated by soft lights that highlighted the vibrant colors of the fruits. On the day of the inauguration, the entire neighborhood gathered to celebrate this extraordinary event. Colorful banners decorated the streets, and a joyful crowd eagerly awaited the moment when the doors would open for the first time. Children ran and laughed, their faces marked by excitement, while parents chatted and took photos, capturing every moment of this memorable day. The smell of dishes prepared by local caterers wafted through the air, adding a festive touch to the atmosphere. The businessman spoke to the crowd, telling the story of the woman who, with a simple act of kindness, had changed his life and inspired a project that would now nourish hundreds of people. He recalled his childhood memories of the mango given with such generosity and how that moment had laid the foundation for his success. "Maria," he said, turning to her, You are the true heroine of this story. This supermarket is a symbol of your generosity, and it will continue to carry that same spirit to everyone who walks through its doors. With tears in her eyes, Maria felt her heart swell with gratitude. She had never imagined that her simple kindness could bring about such a change, not just in her life, but in the lives of so many others. "I never sought to be a heroine," she said, her voice trembling. "I only followed my heart. But today, I am overjoyed to see that kindness can truly transform lives. I hope this supermarket will be a place of gathering, sharing, and support for all." Applause rang out, resonating like a sweet melody in the air. The doors of Supermarket Maria finally opened, revealing a warm and welcoming interior. The curious customers poured inside, marveling at the neatly arranged aisles and the variety of products. Maria, with a radiant smile, welcomed the first customers to her fruit stall, where juicy mangoes, golden papayas, and fresh pineapples gleamed under the lights. She greeted each person warmly, sharing recipes, preparation tips, and stories about her fruits, just as she had always done. As the days passed, the supermarket became a dynamic hub of activity. Cooking workshops were organized, showcasing local dishes and seasonal recipes. Maria invited fruit and vegetable producers from the region to come and present their products, creating a direct link between farmers and the community. The children had fun picking colorful fruits, learning to love healthy foods from a young age. The supermarket also became a center of support, where families could come to buy food at a reduced price thanks to a program Maria had put in place. She wanted no one to suffer from hunger, like the hungry boy she had met so many years ago. This project, driven by her generosity, strengthened the bond between the members of the community. Over time, Supermarket Maria became not just a place to shop, but a symbol of hope and resilience. Maria, surrounded by her dedicated team, continued to inspire others with her selflessness and determination. She had turned her dream into reality, and her story of generosity resonated in the hearts of all those who passed through its doors. Every year, on the anniversary of the inauguration, Maria organized a large celebration to honor the community. Games, performances, local music concerts, and cooking contests brought joy to this festive event. The laughter of children blended with the music, and neighbors shared memories while enjoying dishes prepared with love. In this warm environment, Maria realized that true wealth did not lie in the size of the supermarket, but in how it had brought people together and transformed lives. And so, surrounded by her community, she knew that her heart, just like her supermarket, would continue to grow and flourish.